You're listening to this week's episode of the Vacation Rental Business in Today's World podcast. You're about to start transforming your business and life with the information found here. We interview some of the greatest and most influential minds in the vacation short-term rental industry and supporting businesses. The information found here is a combination of brain science, transformational thinking, safety and loss prevention, and vacation short-term rental knowledge and experiences, all rolled into one to help you and your business to achieve levels you never thought possible. I am glad you are here, and now please welcome your host, Eric Thibodeaux.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Safer VRs podcast. I'm Eric Thibodeaux, and I'm glad you're here. If we haven't met before, I help vacation rental managers and owners craft and improve their safety and loss prevention so they can be more profitable, have more influence, and impact through their businesses by creating safer stays and improving their guest vacation experience. So I help vacation rental managers and owners with safety and loss prevention in their business. I'm also a vacation rental owner. I'm a vacation rental property manager, and I'm a vacation rental investor. I've been doing this for, 19 years now. And I'm also a safety professional. I'm a certified safety professional, and I'm combining these two great skills that I've learned and I created Safer VRs. And basically, as I mentioned in the intro, I'm wanting to help vacation rental managers and owners. And I'll stop and just say for a moment, let's think back. I was watching this movie here recently, A Few Good Men. If you remember this movie with Tom Cruise, Robert De Niro, it's about, this young man that gets killed, and they're in a trial, and they're interviewing in court. They're examining one of the privates about being in the Marine Corps. And they say, we follow the Marine Corps manual for everything that we do. And so when you think about it, Tom Cruise asked the young man, private, he said, show me in the Marine Corps manual where you go to get lunch in the mess hall. And private said, it's not in the Marine Corps manual. He said, I thought everything was in the manual. He said, well, this is not in the manual. And he said, well, how do you find where the mess hall is to eat? And the private said, I guess I just follow the crowd and I get there to go eat. And so when I thought about it and saying, a lot of that's true about safety and loss prevention. Certainly I see it I'm still working as a safety professional. I see it in my work. I also see it in the vacation rental industry. Do we really just follow the crowd? And really, when you think about it, we've been indoctrinated our whole lives to follow the crowd. When we were in school, at least where I was in school, we got in a line. We went to the bathroom. We followed each other. We followed the teacher. We went to eat lunch. We got in a line. We followed. Everything we did, we got in the line and we followed to go somewhere. So we followed the crowd. And just think about it. I've been to football stadiums at different universities, and I really didn't know where the entrance was. So what did I do? I followed the crowd, found the entranceway. And so maybe this is how it goes in a lot of things in life. And when it comes to safety in our business, really, we've never really been formally educated in the vacation rental industry about what safety is. We're starting this process. We're getting there. But I think we've been following the crowd in some of this. And sometimes when we're doing this, we have these situations where we listen to, different individuals, some who know what they're speaking about, maybe others who don't. A good example, even when you are very knowledgeable, like myself or maybe Justin Ford, and someone talks to you about something, I relate it to like being part of what I also have done in my career. I've done taxes. I've worked for H&R Block for 25 years before I hung that hat up 2 years ago. And a lot of times when you're talking to people and they come in and they're reviewing their tax situation with you, and you say, they ask you some particular questions and say, okay, here's what you can do, here's what you can't do. And they say, well, that's not what my friend told me. And so we talk a little bit about, you're not your friend. This is your situation. Everybody's situation is different. And that's really how it goes in our businesses as well. Our friends may be doing something, but does it apply to our business? And I look at it in safety sometimes as well. that when someone who says, here's some guidance, we go a different way. And so all of this is just talking about how I believe it's time to start rethinking how we look at safety and health. And really what we want to take a look at is, I'm going to go through a few discussion points, is around what safety is. And so safety is not the absence of incidents, right? Safety is a positive state in its own right. So why, when you hear the word safety or you hear, I'm concerned about your safety, what thought comes into your mind? Is it something that, oh my gosh, something's bad happening? Once again, have following the crowd brought us to think about that. So I want us to reconsider, start to reframe our thinking and our thoughts, that safety is a positive state. Because what happens when we start to always talk about, let's say, the negative side of safety, I kind of look at it and think about, it's like a bull. A bull has a lot of good qualities, but you never bring them out by waving a red flag in the bull's face. What I mean by that is, when we talk about safety in our businesses and loss prevention, why are we not talking about the positive things? Arousing others is easy if you don't care what kind of action you inspire. If you want to create a positive response in others, you do so by example and through the art of gentle persuasion, not by daring them to attack. So this is not how I want to approach safety in the vacation rental business and Safer VRs. I'm really about talking about the positive frame of working in safety. Doesn't mean that from time to time we will have incidents, and we do have incidents. I understand that. I work in this profession. I work in safety and loss prevention, and we do have incidents. However, I believe that whether it's in life or our business, we either get the results we want or the lesson we need. And what I mean by that, so an example, you probably heard in a previous podcast or saw some of my pictures. We had a loss at one of our properties, actually one that I own with partners. And it was the hot water heater failed, and water just kind of ran down into the second floor, down onto the first floor. And I think back to that incident and I said, I didn't check the hot water heater to check the dates, to see how it was being maintained. And so I learned a lesson. Good, that won't happen again. Because what we did the next day, that was in our number 4 property, our number 5 property, we replaced the hot water heater. So the lessons will continue until we learn to prevent them. We take positive action. So safety is a positive state in its own right. We need to stop thinking about safety as control. We need to basically think about the people that work for us, our teams, resources to harness and develop and get insight from. We need to stop thinking about safety as an expense and think about safety as capital. I like to talk about it as a defense. I am proactively improving my business at safety. So we're wanting to think differently about safety in a positive frame, about learning lessons, learning from success. Safety is defined by the presence of capacities to make things go well. I want things to go well. I don't want safety to be measured by those incidents. Certainly we'll be judged by those incidents that occur, just like the example I gave you in the loss. I took our property out of commission for 3 weeks, roughly $20,000 loss of revenue plus repairs. But now I want to think about how I can learn from that and make improvements. Safety should be approached proactively, looking at things in a proactive way. I want to stop that situation from occurring. First of all, I have to recognize that situation. And that's part of some of the things we learn in Safer VRs is we want to look at the presence of controls. Business is safe when the controls of each high energy observation is in place and adhered to. What does that mean? So we look at what are those particular situations in our business. You've heard me speak about driving, how I think driving is an excellent opportunity for us to look at how we make improvements in our business. For the most part, large part of the vacation rental industry, we do not consider that as a high energy observation that we need to address. Let's be proactive, train all individuals who drive for work, even our vehicles, their vehicles, and we want to make sure that their vehicles are safe. We have a safety inspection program. We make sure they have the right type of driver's license that is valid. that our vehicles are properly inspected, and we run our employees through defensive driving. Because once again, our employees, our team is our resource, and we value our resources to help be proactive in safety. So organizations should understand what goes right. So what I mean by that is we often talk about things that go wrong in our business. However, we should be talking about what's going right, particularly in safety. What goes right? We spend 98, 99% of our time in things go well. And when things don't go well, we acknowledge it. We say, good, we're going to learn from that, and we're going to grow, and we're going to get better, because we will make mistakes. Perfectionism is a lie, and it's what holds us back from the truth. The truth is that we're human, we make mistakes, and we have the ability to learn in a positive way to go forward. So we want to enforce successful behaviors rather than try to avoid errors. Pretty much what I just mentioned. Create processes based on successful behavior rather than focusing on reducing the loss. Once again, back to the driving here, I'm focusing on a safe driver, a good vehicle, defensive driving skills, so that they have the right behaviors, the right equipment, and they're focusing on their outcome, not that I'm trying to avoid a loss. So what I'm trying to work on here is what I'm working on is I'm wanting us to redefine safety, rethink about safety in a positive way. And if I could sum it up, I would say we want to focus on the positive side of safety and learn when incidents occur. We will get the results we wanted or the lessons we need, and the lessons continue until we learn. Safety is no longer being looked at as the absence of incidents. Safety is the presence of controls. A business is safe when the controls of each high energy observation is in place and adhered to. And we will apply a balanced approach to safety, as no one metric will tell or do all of this for us. So saying, for example, with this last point is that we haven't had any fires. We haven't had any vehicle accidents. We haven't had any injuries. Our guests have not had any claims against us. I think that's good. 0, I believe, is a great number. However, it's important to understand, how did we achieve 0? Was it through the presence of controls, through effective training, through positive discussions with our employees, positive discussions with our guests about how we're going to manage the property safely for them and the owners, or is it we're just lucky? So what I'm really wanting to focus on this podcast today is I want us to start rethinking about safety and being proactive in safety. I'm going to have another discussion podcast next week, and we're going to start talking about some of the different, I'll call them levels or iterations of how we look at and how we've approached safety. I believe I have 5 of them identified, maybe 4, and I'm working through some of these now. And I want to lay what I'm calling the gold standard for vacation rental safety and loss prevention. It all starts with how we begin to rethink and think differently about safety. How are we approaching this here? And as we go through some of this, I'm a big believer in talking about transformational thinking and thoughts, and we're going to incorporate that in here. Because Safer VRs will apply the gold standard, which will include our membership. It will include safety consulting. It will include transformational thinking, and it will include expert testimony and support for our members. And so as we go through this, starting next week, we'll begin to lay out what are some of the elements of the gold standard that we want to incorporate in our businesses, that I want to share with you to create a safer vacation rental business for you, for our industry, for our guests, and to be profitable. I know sometimes people say, well, we shouldn't talk about profit when we're talking about safety. And I disagree with that. We don't want to be the safest vacation rental owners and managers out there, but not have a business. So it is basically how we perform financially is important. The more we generate and can be profitable, the more successful our business goes. The safer our business goes, the more profitable our business will be. And I've seen it throughout the 32 years that I've been working as a safety professional, is that the locations and businesses that I've worked with and supported that have moved safety forward, whether it was in a difficult situation or already strong situation, always got better financially as we improved our safety and loss prevention performance. So with that, I'll end for today. I encourage you to go and check out my Facebook group at Safer Vacation Rentals. Also, go to safervrs.com and take a look there and join my list and take a look at what we're doing. I hope to hear from you, and I want you to create a safe day. Thank you so much. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to Safer VR's podcast with Eric Thibodeaux. If you enjoy this, I would love you to join my Facebook group, The Safer Vacation Rentals, for more of the same. You can also join our email list at www.safervrs.com.